Welcome. I'm so glad that everyone is here today. Today, we're going to be talking about the Magnalink Tab. It is the versatile all-in-one solution. My name is Kimberly Klein. I'm Director of Sales for North America for LVI. My name again is Kimberly Klein, and also with us today is Catherine Gettle. She is the Marketing Manager. She puts together all these amazing PowerPoints and also is here to help you if you have questions. So if you do have a question, please go into chat with Alt-H. And we are here to answer your questions. We also have Christopher Caswell. He's our International Sales Manager, and Christopher does live in Sweden. And some of you have met him in person. And we're super excited because as of January, we brought on Elisa Olenek, and she's our Business Development Manager. So we're all here as a team to help you if you have any questions. Since there are a couple brand new people, I'm just going to say that we are LVI America. LVI is headquartered in Sweden. That's where all of our products are developed. They're built. They're actually manufactured and put together by hand. And this is where we've been making low vision products for over 43 years over in Europe. So we're thrilled to be joining you today, showing you our tab product. Those of you that are joining again for ACVREPs, we do have some key elements that we want to make sure that you get as key takeaways. We want to describe how to maximize the use of the tab's distance camera by using it for other things than just the tab features. In fact, I'm using the tab today to do this entire presentation because I think it's important for you to be able to understand and see that it really is an all-in-one computer solution. Also, how to explain how the improvements in Tab Viewer allow you to work more effectively with Narrator. So we've done some things to not just work with Narrator, but all screen readers, but I'll be showing it today with Narrator. But if you're using JAWS or NVDA or Supernova, it will work with those as well. Also explain how new benefits of the Notepad feature can increase your organization and productivity. So that's been one of our added features, and we continue to make changes and improvements with it. And people love this feature so much that we've actually had to go back with our other products and do some backfilling with PC Viewer and Chrome Viewer. And so if you love this feature and you have one of our other products, it is in some of those other softwares as well. We also will talk about basically giving you what's the available options and for you to be able to choose the best video magnifier that works for an end user's needs. So these are all the key elements that we're going to be talking about today. The first one is to maximize the use of the tab's distance camera. So the tab, there's a picture at the very bottom. There's a picture of the tab in the stand, and then Catherine put a circle around the distance camera. This camera is a 10x optical zoom camera. You can use it as your primary camera for Zoom meetings. So if you guys wanted to see me today, or you were just trying to utilize that camera because you want to get a better picture, you can use that. You just choose that as the camera when you're doing Zoom. When you're in Zoom, under the video area, there's an area where there's a little drop down, there's an arrow, and you can go in there and pick which camera. So if you're using multiple cameras, you have the ability to say that you want to use the camera from the tab. You can also use it for demonstrations. I have a lot of resellers that are joining us today that before, when everything was remote and we had to do everything showing products and attending webinars and attending conferences remotely, they were using the actual camera to be able to angle it around and show off the other products. So it's really cool for that as well. Just remember that it is an amazing piece of technology. And even if you're not using it for the tab functions, don't let it just sit there. You can use this tablet as your everyday computer system for everything, whether you're doing a Zoom meeting, whether you're attending a presentation, whether you're showing off products, or whether you want to use all the wonderful features that you're going to learn about today. We have made some improvements in Tab Viewer that allows it to work better with any type of screen reader. The latest version on your tab should be 2.1.7.0. Now, how it works is the software updates automatically. We push out the update over our server, and that happens several times a week. And if your tab is on at that time and you're using it, the update will automatically hit it. So you're not needing to go and pick that you want to update it. If for some reason yours isn't updating automatically, you didn't happen to have your system on when those updates are getting pushed out, you can perform a manual update, and I'd be glad to get you the instructions. Just send me an email and I'll give my contact information at the end. So if you're running the very latest software, it is 2.1.7.0. If yours is not that, you definitely want to get updated. We have done a few extra changes in the note feature, so you can use it for form filling. I'll show that today. It works great in the educational environment, also at work and at home. If you're using it for school assignments, the great thing about that is you can save it out as a PDF file. And then when you're done with it, you can email it to other people that maybe are in your group, email it to your teacher. And you also have the ability, if you're using it for home, it's great for filling out doctor's forms and anything like that that you have to send to somebody. You can actually make it whatever size you want, whatever color, whatever thickness of the pen. So it just makes it really easy for you to fill out any type of paperwork. And anything that you're collaborating on digitally, this is awesome because you have the ability to fill everything out and again, send it to a group and be part of a discussion group or a team. So it really works well for that. Let's just talk about the Magnalink tab for just a minute. Catherine has a couple pictures that she put here. One is somebody standing up using it. And that's the cool thing about the tab. You have the ability not only to angle the distance camera standing straight up like you see it in this picture at the top, but you also can stand up and use the tab because you can angle the actual stand with the actual surface, almost like a flat surface if you're doing like a stand-up desk, which is really popular. In fact, I have one right now that I use in my office. The bottom picture shows somebody touching the screen because there's 3 ways to do everything. You can do gestures, you can use the hotkey combination with the keystrokes, and you also can use the menu system that we'll be talking about and you'll see in just a minute. So it is a video magnifier, better known as a CCTV. You can use it for enlarging anything, changing the color, just like you would any video magnifier. But what you need to understand is that it is a computer. It is a Microsoft Surface Pro computer. The one we're featuring today is a Surface Pro 7, and you also have the ability to get it as an i5, an i7, or without a tablet. So Surface Pro 7 is the model. That's not the processor. The processor is either i5 or i7. So this is the Surface Pro 7 model. We'll be talking about the Surface Pro 8 model just briefly at the end. But this one that we're showing today in the pictures that you see is our Surface Pro 7 model. And again, you can use i5, i7, or without a tablet. So if you already have your own Surface Pro tablet, it would need to be a Surface Pro 6 or higher. You don't have to purchase it with an actual tablet. You can get it with just the stand and the distance camera, and we'll give you a link for the software. It is very highly customizable. You have the ability to change the colors, and you're going to see how easy it is to do that in just a second. Super lightweight and compact. The whole thing together, when you're using this, is less than 9 pounds. So think about it. You have a computer, you have a video magnifier, and you also have the ability to do text to speech. So it's great to use either when you're on the go, or if you're sitting and you want to actually plug it into multiple monitors, you have the ability to do that as well. I was going to show that today, but we're showing so many other features. We would have ran out of time, but I have 2 24-inch monitors, and I can plug the actual Surface Pro and utilize both monitors, which is really, really cool. We do ship it with a keyboard, so it comes with a white on black keyboard. We do sell these keyboards as well separately. So if you're wanting to get the black on yellow or get any additional keyboards, feel free to reach out to us. We're always your first point of contact, and then we'll put you in contact with the reseller for your area. There's a lot of times people don't know who to reach out to, so feel free to reach out to us and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. We also do have our resellers listed on our website. So I'll talk about our website at the end, but all of our resellers are listed there. We don't manufacture these keyboards. We actually purchase them through another manufacturer. So we only offer a 1-year warranty on these because that's what they offer us. They're super easy to use. They actually come paired, and it comes with 3 AAA batteries. One of the other features and things we wanted to talk about today is we wanted to make sure you understood all the things that the tab could do, but also pick the right one for the person that you're working with. Do they need an i5? Do they need an i7? Does it work across the board if they have either? You know, just kind of thinking about the different things that they're going to be doing. So if somebody wants to magnify a document, they just want to do the basic features. You basically can do that with the i5 or the i7. There's not a problem with either. That's going to help you see printed documents. It's going to help you for filling out forms. If somebody wants to use the distance camera, again, you have the ability to do that, no problem with either one. So it comes with the same exact distance camera. Again, the only difference between the i5 and the i7 is the processor, but also the memory. That's the big part. That's the big difference. So of course you do have the distance camera for seeing a whiteboard. Is it portable? Definitely portable. You can move it from room to room, both i5 and i7. Can you add text to speech? Well, it actually already has text to speech, but we wanted to bring that up because, you know, you have a lot of people that in the morning time, maybe their vision is different than later in the day. So maybe in the morning, they just, you know, want to use magnification. But in extended periods of time, and maybe they're using the computer for 8 hours, then they want to actually use the text to speech feature. So it automatically comes with it. This is our product that like everything comes with it. You know, we have options with some of our other products. That's the cool thing about this product. It's all in one. You get the computer, you get the text to speech. It's a video magnifier. You're getting the distance camera, and you're getting a keyboard. Cannot see black text on a white background. You can change the colors. There's so many color combinations. And if you don't like some of the ones we have, you can customize them. And I'll be showing you how to do that as well. If you have your own computer, that's fine. But if you're needing to get a computer, this is a deal because you're getting the computer, the text to speech, and the camera all bundled together. And it's really a great price for getting basically 3 types of technology in one. Again, allowing multiple monitors works with both the i5 and the i7. Preferably, you're probably going to want to do touch because this is such a touch-driven software. So you're going to want to get touchscreen monitors. You could just plug it into one or multiple ones. With the Surface Pro 7, which we're showing here, if you're using multiple monitors, you do need to get a Surface dock in order to do that. They have them on Amazon. They're really not that expensive. And if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me because I have one. And again, I can show it to you with multiple monitors. Now we're going to get down into a little bit about the difference between the main difference between the i5 and the i7. The i5, it's a great computer and it does pretty much everything what they want to do. But if they're using accessibility products that might require more memory, maybe they need something that has 16 gigabyte of memory, that's when you have to go with the i7. So with the i5, if you're using the built-in Narrator or Magnifier, or there's other assistive technology that works fine with 8 gigabyte of memory, NVDA, Supernova. A lot of assistive technology doesn't require you to have 16 gigabyte of RAM, but there are some that require more. I'm thinking Fusion, if you're using the whole package together, Fusion JAWS. There's some other assistive technology out there that is more of a resource hog. And it's not even always the assistive technology. Maybe you're using software, maybe you're using drawing or drafting software or different things that require you to have a lot of memory because it's storing a lot when you're using that particular product. So the main difference between the i5 and the i7 is the memory. Sure, it's a faster processor. Definitely it is with the i7, but it's the memory that's going to make it or break it, kind of going to help you make that decision. So great chart. Thank you, Catherine, for putting that together. Oops, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and leave this open, and then I'm going to launch our software, and I'm going to show you guys how to utilize our software, the Tab Viewer software. Okay, you guys, so this is the actual software that you can see, and I just have, and this is live, you can see my hand underneath. I just have our brochure for this product right underneath. Now I'm showing it, I have it on a little XY table. So this is something that if you're wanting to get this XY table, it's the size of a sheet of paper and it fits right inside the case. Now that is something that's an additional, you would need to get it separate. We don't just offer it. And the other thing I'll be showing you today is an actual, it's not a Surface Pro one, but it's going to be allowing me to write on the screen. So if you're wanting to purchase, I can't think what they're called. I'm drawing a blank here. If you're wanting to purchase a stylus to be able to write on the screen, and you can even use your finger. You don't have to have a stylus, but a lot of people like the feel of different things in their hands. So the main things are if you're wanting to get a stylus, you're wanting to get the XY table, or if you're wanting to get a Bluetooth mouse. Also, that's something that you would need to add on yourself. Those are the additional things that we don't ship with. Okay, so first of all, you can see that you've got a great, crisp, clean image here because you're using, again, a 10x optical zoom camera. That's our distance camera that I'm using right now. The distance camera has the ability to do distance, document, and self-viewing. You just actually turn the camera whatever angle that you want to use it. It's very similar to the camera that's on the Magnalink S, if you're familiar with that. But this one is on a bendable arm. So you have the ability to make it go straight up. You have the ability to bend it over. The cool thing about that is you can actually use this distance camera around the front of the system, behind it, or off to the side. So there's so many options for using this. Now you really have 3 cameras on the tab. You have 2 cameras on the Surface Pro, and you guys, a lot of people go, oh my gosh, this is a special Surface Pro, or you did something to it. We didn't do anything to it except purchase it and then add our software. So the cameras that are on here, if you have a Surface Pro tablet, they're on there as well. They're down towards the bottom in the center. If you were looking at it where we actually secure it in, there's an orange piece that holds the tablet in. It's right in the middle, and that's the top facing camera. And then if I were to actually drill a hole all the way through, the bottom camera is right underneath that, basically. So it's in the same spot. One just faces down and one faces up. So you have that on your tablet. The tablet also can come out of the stand, just like a tab that you're used to using. You can use the actual little kickstand that comes up in the back. So again, we've just made the stand and we've added the software. So I'm going to take the distance camera and I'm going to go across the room. And now we're looking actually at a picture on my wall. So you can see, no matter if you're looking straight down or if you're looking across, you're getting a beautiful image. It's very crisp and clear. If I wanted to zoom in, I'm just using my up and down arrow keys, but I could also use my plus and my minus down here at the bottom, or I could pinch and zoom because again, it's a tablet. The other thing with our cameras is they have a super fast refresh rate. So when I went to the wall, you weren't going 1,000, 1,000, boom, you were just there instantly. And that's really cool about the cameras because they have the ability to get instant, and you're not trying to figure out, oh, am I in the right spot? What's going on? And now I'm back down again live on my document. So I'm going to also make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have the ability to use the actual menu system at the bottom, and I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about how to change the colors, because I think the most important thing that I've found in the 30 odd years that I've been working with people with low vision is color is key. If they have the contrast that's good for them, that's really important. So if somebody doesn't like a blue background with white, no problem. Let's go in and show you how to change that. So I'm going over to the 8th button all the way over. It looks like a gear, and I'm going to touch that. When I do that, it brings me into the about. Again, here's where you can see the version number that I talked about, version 2.1.7.0. So that is where you would find your version number. So if we ever ask you for your version number and your hardware ID, that is where these are. And it tells you that you have an OCR license. Now I'm going to go off to the side. It says application, and I'm going to pick application. When I pick application, it refreshes off to the right-hand side. Everything changes because now we're talking about the application. It brings up a picture of a camera in a box, and then it also says white text, black text. So if I touch that camera, I now have a color wheel that comes up. And when I'm using that color wheel, whatever color that I touch, it's going to change the image at the bottom of the screen to that color. So if someone liked green, for example, I touched green, and now if I go back out, now everything has changed to green. You also can change it if you don't want it to be white, you can change it to black text. So now I've got green with black text. I'm going to go and I'm going to change it to white on black to show you how to do that. So again, I went to the gear, the 8th icon over, then I went to application. It remembers where I was at last, so I didn't have to pick application. It remembers that. Then I go to the camera, and now I want it to actually be black color, but I'm going to want white text. So let me go out for a second and change it to white text, because we don't want black background with black text. You wouldn't be able to see anything. So all I have to do to get the black text is you've got 2 scroll bars, and they're all the way over to the right. If I take the top one and I move it all the way to the left, I have now said, no matter what I touch on the color wheel, it's not going to change anything because I've made it black, and there's no other color that's going to bleed through the black. And then the bottom one is how opaque that you want it. Do you want the menu bar to be really bright, high contrast, or do you want to be able to see through it? And I'll show you how you can see through it in a second. However, I'm going to show you how you can make the menu go away, which most people prefer to do that. Okay, so now it's black background with white. If I double tap on the screen, the actual menu goes away. So the cool thing about that is now the menu's gone and you have the ability to see more text on the screen. There is a faint little arrow in the middle, but you don't need to actually find that arrow. If I just double tap on the screen anywhere, the menu comes back. But let me show you the opaque that I was talking about. I'm going to go back into color. And at the bottom, you've got the actual scroll bar, and it's all the way to the right. And I'm going to make it come all the way to the left. So now you can see through the menu bar. Some people really like that. Again, if you're not wanting the menu bar there, just double tap and it'll go away. All right, I'm going to go back and make it really dark because that's the way I think if somebody's going to use it, they're going to want to be able to really see it clearly. Okay, the other cool thing about, we talked about color, but size is also important. When you're utilizing any of our menus in the tab, you have the ability to pinch and zoom and make the menu whatever size that you wanted it to be. Now, the left side is different than the right side. So let's say I want the left side big, but the right side small. I can do that, or I can make both of them large, or I can make just the right side large. So there's no right or wrong, but you just pinch and zoom and make it whatever size that you want. And just remember that the left side is separate from the right side. Okay, so now we have great color contrast. Now we're looking at a document that we can see really, really clearly. Let's talk about changing the contrast of that document. Maybe full color isn't great for you. There's several different ways to change the color, but I'm going to use keystrokes today. And you don't need to remember any of these keystrokes. For joining today, you do have the ability to get our hotkey guides. So if you don't have those already, feel free to send us an email and we'll be glad to get you the hotkey guides. We have 4 of them. We have one for menus. We have one for the keystrokes. We have one for gestures, and then we have one for the editing. So all of those are available, and they're available in large print. So I'm going to change the colors. And now I've got to change the contrast. There we go. So I'm hitting the F3 function key, and it's changing you through the color combinations that we have available. And to change the contrast, it's instead of up and down arrow, which makes it larger, it's left and right arrow. So left is going to make it darker, right is going to make it brighter. And if I want to go back to full color, I just hit F1, and how you can tell it's full color is now I'm down on a picture. If I hit F1 a second time, you're going to end up going to grayscale. Grayscale is going to make it just to where You've just got no coloring at all. It's just gray. And for some eye conditions, people prefer that. So again, there's no right or wrong. I'm going to go back to full color. And we're going to come down to where there's some text. And now we're going to go ahead and do OCR. Now there's 3 ways to do OCR. You can see the big OCR button at the bottom. You also can hit the hotkey, or I'm just going to put my finger on the screen for a second and let it go.
A complete solution is tablet solution based on a Microsoft Surface Pro.
Now I'm going to pause it for a second, and I'm going to make the text a little bigger as well. Now you have the ability after you do OCR to see what I'm looking at 7 different ways. Again, there's no right or wrong. It's just what's best for that person. And it could just be different for each document. Like this particular document, let me shrink it back down for a second. There's little blocks around the sections. So if you're wanting to jump from section to section, you have the ability to do that, or you have the ability to touch on the screen, and wherever you touch, it's going to start reading at that point. So again, no right or wrong. It's just what your preference is. Now, I've got it pretty large, just looking at one word at a time. But if I hit the letter B as in Bravo, I can actually now have it highlighted. If I do it one more time, now I'm just looking at the actual text on the screen. And I could start it reading again if I chose to do that, or I have the ability to jump
Internet
from
and other
section
standard
to
applications
section.
are only a click away with MagniLink Tab.
So I touched the word Bluetooth, and it started reading right at that point. So when you're looking at the document, you have the ability to, again, point and touch anywhere on the screen, and it will jump to that section. I'm going to hit B one more time. Now you're just looking at the OCR text. Let me shrink it down just a little bit. And if you start it reading, it's going to highlight it.
You can easily communicate with the rest of the world. Flexibility. Truly mobile MagniLink Tab is foldable and lightweight with ease.
Go back. Now you have it like ticker tape.
MagniLink Tab is foldable and lightweight with easy and quick startup. You can start working .a.
One more time. Now you actually have
.a host immediately.
One word at a time.
This makes the unit ideal for use in the class.
You can change the voice. You can slow it down. You can speed it up. Again, you want to just really work with the person and find out what's best for them. Now, if we want to go back to live view, there's several different ways to do that. Down at the bottom of the screen, there's an A and a camera. You can touch that. Or I could have hit the letter V for view, or I could have done a gesture. Again, no right or wrong. It's just what works for that particular person. The next one over is the 2 cameras. So I mentioned we have 3 cameras. When you're using the actual Surface Pro, you've got the 2 cameras on the Surface, and then you have our distance camera, which can do 3 different views. First of all, I'm going to take you back into the menus with the gear, and then we're going to go into camera. Now, I don't have the front camera turned on, and I wanted to talk about that. The reason I don't have the front camera turned on, there's nothing wrong with having it on. By default, when we ship with it on, but that is the forward-facing camera. And whenever I show it off and that's on, and I switch to that camera, it hits somebody in the face, and then they're on the screen. And they just don't like that. They go, get me off the screen. So I just choose to turn that off. But to turn it on, you would just simply touch it, and it is just a checkbox. And to turn it back off, it's just a checkbox. So I did want to bring that up because that does come up. And since we're in this area, you can see all the color choices we have at the top. And a second ago, when we went through all the colors, you went, oh my gosh, there's like 10, 15, there's all these different color contrasts, because you get the positive and the negative. So if you take each one of these, you really times it times 2, because you can do positive or negative. You have the ability to turn off just the positive or just the negative, but you also can just totally get rid of them by clicking on the X. So now they're all gone. All the options are gone. So if we went back out and looked at our document, and now I'm going to change the colors, you don't have all those color combinations because I got rid of all of them. It's not a big deal to change anything in the menus, because I always tell people the biggest mistake you can make is to not play, to not get in there and really learn it. Because if you go to the bottom at any of the menus and you just hit default, everything comes back. And we have that default setting on every single menu. So no one can ever mess up anything. Just know that. Feel free to get in there. Feel free to play. You're not going to mess anything up. Now, if you didn't have our shortcut keys, let's say you just didn't have them with you or you hadn't asked for them, they're all right here, and you can pinch and zoom on this menu and you can scroll up and down. All of the hotkeys are here. They're built into the actual software, and we have them broke down into camera, OCR, and notes tool, which I'm about to show you in just a second. You also have the gestures. So if you don't remember what the gestures are, they're all right here. You can uncheck a gesture if you don't want it to work, but you cannot change a gesture. But the shortcuts, let's say there was a key conflict with JAWS or Supernova or something that you're using, you have the ability to get rid of our shortcut, make it be something else because you didn't want it to conflict with whatever else you were using. Okay, so I'm now all the colors back just to show you really quickly. So now you've got a bazillion colors to go through again. So I'm going to go back to full color. So we're going to actually show you, I'm going to show you two things really quickly, and then we're going to go into turning on Narrator. So we're going to take that camera and go back out. And when you're going out, you do need to flip open the actual lens that's there. We're going to pretend there's a presentation going on about that tree. Somebody's talking about that type of tree and the type of leaves, and we want to actually record that. So we're going to go into the 6th button over where there's a picture of a camera and a video camera, and we're going to touch that. And once we go in there, we have a lot of different options, and we're going to say we want to record something. So we're going to go to the 4th one over, and we're going to touch it. And then we're going to say, sure, that's fine. Give us today's date and time, and we're going to save it. Now, once you do that, it's actually going to go out, start recording. You can tell it's recording because up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a box and a circle, and that tells you that it's actually recording. So if I were to go stand in front of the camera, I'll do that quickly here. I'm really tall, so probably have to bend down. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. Okay, so it's recording everything that we're doing. Now, what if there was a handout that I was to give somebody about that type of tree or the leaves that are, that you're talking about in this presentation, and the person forgot to take that handout and make it large? You have the ability to utilize the camera that's actually on the surface. So I'm going to take the piece of paper, we could say it's about trees, and we're going to switch to that camera. The second icon over is how you switch, and go to full color. And now let's shrink it down. So now you're able to utilize the distance camera for recording and the camera that's directly underneath the tablet. Now it is a digital picture because these are digital cameras, kind of like the camera that's on your phone. So no, the image isn't as crisp and clear, but the cool thing is that you can utilize 2 cameras at once. You're able to record and utilize the camera that's on the tablet. That was a feature that somebody asked for, and I'm really glad that we were able to add that. I'm going to stop the recording. I went back into where the camera is and the video camera, touched the video camera, and the recording has now stopped. So now I'm going to switch cameras. Okay, the next thing that I wanted to show you is how to fill out a form, and then we're going to finish off with Narrator. So I'm going to take a test that I printed, and we're going to turn it sideways so we can get the entire test in. And we're going to double tap to make the menu go away. So I just took my little XY table and I made it sideways. I'm going to make it a little bigger. And now we can see this entire test. So if we were doing a form or anything for personal or for work or for school, you would just put it right underneath. I'm going to bring the interface back up. I'm going to go back to where that video camera and the camera is. And I'm going to go to the very last icon over. I'm not going to have time to go into it, but I want to talk about freeze, which is the first icon. Some people have said, ooh, I want to be able to freeze the image so I can, move it out of the way or whatever. I don't want to have to keep it under there. I want to just freeze it. So that's what that first one is for. That's brand new. Okay, the last one over though allows you to take a picture of it and then fill it out. So I'm going to use 2 fingers and touch this particular icon. It takes a picture of this. Now I'm going to rotate the image with Control R. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to utilize the actual magnifying glass. Once I bring up the magnifying glass, I can now pinch and make this whatever size that I want. So I now say I want to fill out this test. And the first thing I'm going to do is a ballpoint pen. You can only have one icon at the top active at a time. So before I had the magnifier, now I have the ballpoint pen. If I double touch the pen, I have the ability to change the color of the ink and also the thickness. So if I wanted it really thick, like a 2020 pen, I could do that. Or I could go super, super thin. I'm going to go a little bit in the middle. So now I'm going to go to where my name is and I'm going to write my name. So I'm actually using my finger right now because I moved my stylus over to the other side. Okay, so now if you say, ooh, I don't like the way I wrote my last name, you can go to the eraser and you can touch any part of the screen that you wrote and it will actually get rid of it for you. Let's go back to the pen again. Let's say that I want a different color pen. Those of you that know me know that I love purple. So let's say that I want to write my name in purple. Now, if I want to move down on the test, I need to actually go to the magnifier and now I can scroll down. So right now it says to fill in the missing word. So Catherine loves to see new LVI products. So I have a couple choices here. I can handwrite the word to, or I could type. Now, if I'm going to type, I go to the 2-letter A's. And when I go into that, I have the ability to change the font and the color, but we're going to keep it to sans serif and we're going to keep it pretty small. So I'm going to say, okay. Now, when I do that, I have the ability to start typing. I can use the on-screen keyboard that comes up, or I can use my keyboard that we ship with. I'm going to use my keyboard. So Catherine loves to see. Now you go, oh, Kimberly, you've got that in the wrong area. Well, I did that on purpose because it's really hard if you have a visual impairment to try to get a box up in that little area. But I can drag this to anywhere that I want to put it. And now perfect, it's right there. So I've got Catherine loves to see. We can fill out this entire thing. I want to show you the highlighting feature. So I'm going to scroll down again and we're going to highlight each name. So now we're going to go to the highlighter, which is the big yellow thick pen. And we're going to say, we're going to highlight Caleb in yellow, but now we're going to go to different colors for different people. Again, Kimberly's has to be purple. We're going to do Christopher in orange for Sweden colors. Oops, it didn't. Yeah, there we go. And then we're going to do Catherine in blue. Whoops, come on. Highlight, go back to highlighter. There we go. So you can make the highlighter thick or thin, however you want to do it. Again, it's just super easy to do. And then when you want to move down to the bottom, you've got to go back to the magnifier. And now once I'm to the bottom, let's say you've got a check. So let's say this was a test and you had to check different boxes. Well, then I'm going to want to go to my pen. I'm going to make it black again. And wants to know about IKEA. Well, I love IKEA, so I'm going to give it, whoops, I didn't turn it back to black. Black, black, there we go. Volvo, well, they're pretty cool. I'll give them a 3. Spotify, I don't use that. H&M, it's just okay. So you have the ability to put X's, checks, whatever you want to do. And then with the signature, you could type it, or you have the ability, of course, to handwrite it. So I'm going to type my name. And let me move that box though, because I don't want to move Catherine's writing. Now we get a blank box. Okay, so now I'm going to put Kimberly. And I can move this anywhere on the screen. Now let me see. We're going to stop there and I'm going to go back to my magnifier because I need to scroll. And now I'm going to pick Kimberly back up. And now I can move it down here to the line. So this is a really cool thing. Now I have the ability to save it out. as actually whatever I want to save it as a PDF. I went all the way out because I want to quickly go into Narrator. How much time do we have left? Oh, good. Okay, so I'm going to turn on Narrator quickly for us.
Kimberly, while you're doing that, can I just say that being able to go back to those text boxes and move boxes after you've already gone away from them is pretty cool, because like in the Paint program, you can't do that. Once you click out of it, you're done. So the fact that we can go back and edit those text boxes that we drop onto the screen is a really cool feature.
Absolutely. And Catherine, that's one of the improvements that they made, because we weren't able to do that in the first release. And we had people, like you said, you know, you're filling out something, and how many times do you get it in the wrong area, and you just, you know, you get it in here and now you want to be able to move it later as you scroll down. And like you said, in some softwares, you can't do that. So we thought that that was really important. And that is something that they've really improved, and it's really cool. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, I'm going to turn on Narrator. Those of you that have never done this, it's super simple anytime you want to turn on Narrator or Magnifier. So the cool thing is if somebody's utilizing our software, but then they go out to save a document or they go to open a document, well, we don't magnify or talk in those areas because we're not per se a screen reader or screen magnification software. We only work within the contents of our software. So to turn on Narrator quickly, if you're ever wanting to do that, it's just Control Windows Enter. So I turned on Narrator with Control Windows Enter, and then it takes you to a Narrator screen. And if you want to come back to whatever software you're running, you just Alt Tab. So now I'm going to show you how Narrator works with our software.
Double tap to activate.
Now, again, this would be the same thing, whether you're using Narrator, whether you're using JAWS, whether you're using NVDA, whatever, Supernova, whatever screen reader you're using, you're going to get the same type of thing. I just happen to be using Narrator because everybody has Narrator on their Windows computer. So I went to the first one. I don't know if you caught that. So I'm going to go to the second one just by touching it.
Switch camera button, double tap to activate.
So it's kind of like using an iPad with using what the built-in speech there. The first time you use it, you touch it, it's going to tell you what it does. The second time, it's going to actually perform it. So if I go to any of these buttons, it's going to tell me what they do.
Zoom in button, double tap to activate.
So if I double tap right now, it's going to make it larger. Now, the cool thing about this is we have several resellers that have no vision at all, and they love the tab because they use it as their full-blown computer system. A lot of them have JAWS on it, and they use it every day for everything they're doing. But then if they need to show off the tab software, they have the ability to utilize these buttons because they talk. And one of the people I was talking to said, Kimberly, what's the size of the buttons at the bottom? And it was really cool because I said, put your finger, and I had them start over at the left and touch the button.
Switch to OCR view.
And then just
button.
Take their finger off to the right.
Switch camera.
And
button.
That gave them an
double
idea
tap to activate.
Of actually
Zoom in.
How big it
Switch
was
camera.
Because they could feel,
button.
Oh, I only went
double
over,
tap to activate.
like an inch, and it went to the next button. So literally you could run your finger across the bottom and it's going to read to you and tell you what every single icon does. Now we have a few, I don't know if you caught it earlier, but we have a few menus. When they pop up, they have a pop-up menu. There's a menu above them. So if I go over to the video camera and the camera.
Take picture or record video button. Double tap to activate.
So I'm going to activate it by double tapping. Now, once you do that, you probably, I don't know if you heard it, but there was a little ting ting, it was a little noise. So now I'm going to hit tab.
Video settings button. Settings button. Pop-up window, open picture.
And
button.
that's going to take
double
me to that pop-up
activate.
menu.
Record video button. Take picture button. Write notes and draw button.
So it's taking me through all of these. If I shift tab, I can go back.
Take picture button. Open picture button.
And I'm going to open a video.
Open video button.
Okay, so I'm going to double tap to activate this.
Open dialog, file name, combo edit, input panel, close.
I should not have made that go away. So now I'm not sure where we're at.
Open.
There we go.
Files of type. All
So
files.
When you're in a dialog box
collapsed.
with a screen reader, a lot of times you can just tab and it's going to take you through the different actual
Open.
areas.
Cancel.
And that's all I'm
button.
doing.
Up band tool. Address. Search box. Command module. Tree view. Documents.
So if I wanted to open documents,
Collapsed.
I'm just going to right arrow.
Tab. 2 of 4. Collapsed.
So
Selected.
now it's telling you that it's selected tab, and I'm going to open that as well.
Space.
Now I'm going to go over to where all the, because I've made a lot of recordings before, and we're going to pull up a recording that I've done.
Items view. 1-12-2021_101940_AM. 1 of 15.
So
1-12-2021_
okay. There's, I think it said 15 files here. I'm going to select this one by hitting the space bar.
Space.
And now I'm going to hit enter on it.
MagniLink Tab window. Videos, movies, and pause.
So it's going to open up a video
pause.
that I did. Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a circle.
Signed in as Kimberly Klein, work or school.
So I paused it. So what I wanted you to see is if you're using the screen reader, you have the ability to be able to go out to a Windows dialog box or anything, because
Tab
we're
window,
utilizing
video
it
settings,
just as you would be with, if you're using Word or you're using Office or you're doing any of those things, you're going to tab around. You're using a space bar to select. So people that are using a screen reader, we're just using the common type of keystrokes that you would normally use to move around the actual dialog boxes that you go in, your tabs and your shift tabs and your space bars and your enters. All of those things are going to be working. Now, I'll tell on us a little bit. Do we work perfectly with a screen reader? No, there's a few areas we don't talk as well as we should. And I'm actually working with a few people to get some insight about what they would like it to do when they go into those areas. And the cool thing that we have, you guys, is it's something called feedback at LVI America. And if you have a suggestion for any of our products, if you go to feedback at lviamerica.com, you do have the ability to give us suggestions. And what we do is if we have, I'd say 20 people suggest something, they really look at it and they see if it's something that we can do. And probably one of your suggested features will be in one of our next releases. So the more people that go to feedback and suggest things, the better. So feel free to do that. And when you go to feedback and send that in, feel free to copy me. That way I can get a gauge of what people are suggesting and wanting. Again, it's feedback, F-E-E-D, back at lviamerica.com. Catherine, can you go in the chat and put that in there, please? Okay, I'm going to shut off Narrator, Control Windows, Enter.
Exiting Narrator.
And it just takes you right out of Narrator. So we're all the way out. We're going to quickly go back to the PowerPoint because we are getting tight on time. And we now are going to go to the next slide. Catherine added in here, you guys, we have tables. We just got these into the US. We're super excited about them. So reach out to your reseller if you have questions. The dimensions are here, but it's great for, it will work for any of our video magnifiers, but really the bigger ones are nice, like the Magnalink Vision, the One, but it'll fit any of them. A wheelchair can slide right in, that little side table opens up. So we're really excited. They've been selling them over in Europe for a while, and we're excited to have them here in the US. And we just got our first shipment of them about a week ago. So our monthly webinars are a great way to keep up with what's going on. We will have another webinar at the end of June, and we'll be talking about the Magnalink Tab 2. So I want to talk about this for just a minute, but we have the Microsoft Surface Pro 8. It's the latest Surface Pro tablet that's coming out, and we will have it working with the tab. So you will have the option of an i5, you'll have an option of the i7, and you also have the option if you had a Surface Pro 7 before and you say, hey, I just want to expand out my stand, we do have some different options. We'll be talking a lot more about that Surface Pro at our next webinar. I'll actually have a Surface Pro 7 and an 8 sitting next to each other, and you'll get to understand the differences. The biggest, and I'm just going to talk about the biggest two right now on the Surface Pro 8, is it is a 13-inch screen, and so it's a little bit bigger. And the other thing is that back or the rear facing camera on the Surface is it's an improved camera. They've made some changes. So if you're using that to look at our documents, like I just did earlier, you're going to get a clearer image. There's a lot of other changes, but we're saving that for the next webinar. So please join us. You can sign up today. The link is up there. Just go to www.lviamerica.com/webinar. So after that webinar, we're going to take a break for the summer for July and August. But I just came up with an idea today and I hadn't even had a chance to ask Catherine. So I'm going to throw this out there. You guys, for September, we want to do a webinar about school. So what I want you to do is send in your suggestions. If we utilize what you give us and we base the webinar about your suggestions, you will win a prize. I'm not going to tell you what that prize is. So send in suggestions for September's webinar, but if you have other future ones as well, but September's will be focused on school. So if you have suggestions like, oh, I wish you would focus using X, Y, and Z, send that in to either Catherine or myself, and you'll have our contact information in a minute. Again, here's everyone's contact info. Christopher, we didn't give you his phone number because it's Sweden, so we didn't think you'd be wanting to call Sweden. That's a little bit of a far call, but it is Christopher, CHRISTOFER .Caswell, CASSWALL @LVI.SE. I'm Kimberly Klein. You can call or text me at 702-468-6611, and it's Kimberly, KIMBERLY.Klein@LVIamerica.com. And then Catherine Gettle, she's 802-236-4404. And Catherine.Gettle, it's GETTEL @LVIamerica.com. And you can also reach out to Alicia, it's ALIZA, and she's 612-940-9037. Catherine, are there any things in the chat? You guys, I'm sorry, I didn't leave a ton of time for questions. If you have questions, go ahead and give them to us right now, and we can go ahead and answer those.
No questions in chat, and no questions in the Q&A section either. You just did such a great job explaining. Nobody had any questions.
Well, very good. I'm glad to hear that there were no questions. Catherine, let me see here. I'm going to